to the John Hennessey Performance vlog number 2, and I think last week went okay. Seemed to be fairly well received by the comments on YouTube. So I'm getting ready to drive to work. It's Friday, last day of the week, and got a lot of exciting things going on at the shop. And so just wanted to kind of follow up in answering questions that we've gotten through social media. Again, my daughter Emma, who works in our marketing department, is gathering questions, and we've gotten lots and lots of questions. So just read a few questions before I start driving. What's your dreamy project? Okay, well, that would be the Venom F5, and we'll get into that. How many F5s will be built? We can talk about that. What's your daily driver? My daily driver for the last 3 months has been the Jeep Trackhawk, which I love, and I can talk about that. What made you want to make the Venom? That's a long story, but I can give maybe a short version of that. Anyway, I'll start driving, put my sunglasses on, put my phone down, and we'll talk a little bit about the Venom. And one thing that Emma told me was that people want to know about my creative side, so I can talk a little bit to that. So I think we answered the question regarding the daily driver. So that's the Jeep Trackhawk. It's the new Trackhawk. No, I've not modified it yet, not because I don't want to. We've just been so busy in the shop. The demand for our product has been incredible, especially this year. Our guys in our shop work really, really hard. It's Texas, so in the summertime it's almost 100 degrees every day, and our guys are building and putting out 10 to 15 cars per week. And so I'm gonna get my car squeezed in the production schedule here at some point, and we'll be doing some R&D on it. It's probably going to be set up for, I might start with our 850 horsepower package and then maybe go to the 1,000 horsepower package. And again, it will continue to be my daily driver, at least when it's not being worked on, when it's not being upgraded. And then we typically in the summertime don't do, we do a fair amount of car testing, but we do our most aggressive car testing when it's not 100 degrees. So typically the sweet spot of our test season kind of starts in September and then really gets going good October through, really probably through April, even May sometimes. So Venom F5, so it's out there, but just again, somebody asked the question, how many Venom F5s are we going to build? Well, we've announced that we're going to build 24, and we're going to build 12 for the US and 12 for the rest of the international markets. And I kind of, when I was thinking through this before we unveiled the F5 at SEMA last year with Shell Pennzoil, I thought, you know, what's the best way to, you know, offer these vehicles to where, kind of like the way Ford did it with the GT. I don't want to have all of our F5s just concentrated in Southern California, Miami, and Dubai. So I thought, what's a good way to, because I knew we weren't going to have any issues selling the cars, but I kind of look at it as something that it's our legacy car. We probably won't build a faster car. I can't imagine that we would build a faster car than the F5. So we would really want the cars to go to individuals that are passionate about the car, passionate about the brand, and that are going to hopefully share it with the public, share it with kids and other enthusiasts, go to Cars and Coffee and track events and things of that nature. So we are going to take allocations or give allocations for the F5 to where we've got some diversity among the markets. We've got some in Europe, which we have orders from Europe, Asia, Middle East, we have orders from all of those areas. So again, I'd like to have one maybe in Japan, a couple in China, maybe 1 or 2 in Hong Kong, and again, kind of spread them out throughout the world. So anyway, our US allocations are almost sold out. We're going to be at Pebble Beach for the big Car Week event next month in August. So I think it's the 22nd through the 26th. So if you're inclined to want to see the display model, the same vehicle that we had at Geneva and that we had at SEMA back last November, we'll have that on display. We'll also be revealing something special about the F5. I won't tell you what that is now, but the folks that are following the car will get to see a very special aspect of the car that we'll unveil at the Quail, which is Friday, August the 24th, I believe. So anyway, more details coming about the F5 at a later date. We'll begin testing our prototype car sometime after the first of the year, so in 2019. People ask all the time, when are you guys going to go 300? Well, I don't know when we're going to go 300. When the car's ready to go 300. But it's absolutely our intent to take the F5 out, push the envelope, see how fast it'll go, and hopefully we'll be in a position to go out and run some sort of a decent number in 2019. So exactly when that's going to happen, I can't say just yet, but it's our intention to go out and go fast next year. All right, so moving on, I wanted to talk a bit about modifying cars. So I'm driving a 2018 Ford Mustang GT, and it has our HPE 800 supercharged upgrade. And again, this is just getting some test miles and validation miles before we finish the vehicle off and deliver to the customer. Again, I started the business in '91. I was racing my own car that I kind of talked about in the last vlog, and that's how the business evolved. I tell people it was, in a way, kind of a hobby that got out of control. And so when I began the process of modifying cars for the people, I just kind of followed suit and worked with and offered them the same upgrades that I had developed for my own car. And again, in '91, between 2 open road races in Nevada, the Silver State, the Nevada Open Road Challenge, racing at Bonneville, and racing at Pikes Peak, and driving my car to and from all these events, I pretty well learned on my own car which modifications worked and which ones did not. And I would say, as a general rule of thumb, again, over almost 28 years of experience, I've learned that really for every one thing that we know works, and when I say works from a tuner modification standpoint, I'm talking about it makes power, it makes a significant improvement to the performance of the vehicle, it's reliable, it can pass smog, and then I have to look at the business side of modifying it, and I have to look at it from the standpoint, can a production team install it in a reasonable amount of time? I mean, our customers love what we do, and we do have some special super high horsepower builds that we do on occasion, but most of our customers, 90% of our customers, you know, they're looking for a 4 to 6 week turnaround time. And then also we make a lot of our own parts, but then at the same time we have a lot of vendors and parts suppliers that we work with, and in order for us to be able to build 10 to 15 vehicles a week, and we're actually ramping up to build 20 per week, in order to be able to do that, we have to have a supply chain that's dependable and reliable. And so when we look at all of those aspects of how we modify cars now, every single one of those comes into play. We've got a new 2019 Sierra 1 Corvette that we bought a couple weeks ago. It should be delivered probably next week. And to my knowledge, there really isn't anything out there for the LT5 in terms of modifications. So before we begin offering it to our customers and delivering to our customers, we kind of feel like we need to upgrade and build our own car first. So we kind of go through that process on all the vehicles. To some degree, what we do, there's a little bit of trial and error involved. I mean, you can hypothesize and you can calculate and you can estimate, but like the old saying goes in racing, the BS stops when the green flag drops. So we do an extensive amount of R&D work on the products and the vehicles that we offer. Why? Because we want our customers to have a great product, to have a lot of fun with it, and we also stand behind our product. We offer a 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty on, again, 90+% of what we offer. I mean, every now and then if a customer wants to build some sort of a quasi race car, Texas model car with 1,500 horsepower, we do some of those builds, but they take a lot longer than 3 to 4 weeks to build. They might take 3 or 4 months, they might take a year to build. And in those cases, those vehicles don't come with a warranty. We're building fast, fun, exciting, entertaining street cars that, you know, everybody can drive. Kind of the test I have in mind when I'm looking at a vehicle, whether it's the drivability and especially the reliability, when we do an upgrade package to a vehicle, at the end of the day, I have to feel comfortable that I would have confidence in putting my wife or my daughter in that vehicle and say, you're good to go to drive to California and back. So 3,200 miles round trip. And that's kind of the level and the degree of reliability and focus on building a great product. But at the end of the day, we try to push our cars past the limit. And even in some cases, we'll just keep pushing on a car until we break it. We want to really kind of find out what are the weak links, and we do that. And something else I'll talk about while I'm talking about the whole process of modifying cars and why we do what we do. One of the things that I tell our tuner school students, so we've got a 14-week program called Tuner School, where folks that want to learn how to modify cars, whether it's for a hobby or whether it's for a career, they come to our facility. We have our own separate classroom, instructors, and workshop and vehicles where they can learn how to modify cars. The first thing I tell tuner school students, and I've learned this from my own experience, is do not overly modify your daily driver. And so these guys come in, mostly guys, but there's some ladies in tuner school as well, and almost every one of them to a T. They have their own car, they're modifying it to, you know, that's what they do, that's what we do. That's the fun, that's the enjoyable part. But invariably I'll see a guy and their car's no longer there. I'm like, where's your car? Well, I did this, I did that, and they ended up, you know, they ended up breaking something, and now they're having to hitch a ride. So I tell them, don't overly modify your daily driver. And again, if you want to go nuts with the car and do what we do and push the envelope, that's awesome. That's part of the fun. But at the same time, you might want to have something else to drive while you're in the middle of working on or modifying or fixing your car as you're pushing the envelope. So anyway, we love to push the envelope. We love to do new things. We love to do things that other people haven't done, like strap a Christmas tree onto the top of a Hellcat wide body and see how fast it'll go. And that makes it fun. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you know, again, we're probably in the next 12 months, we'll modify somewhere between 700 and 800 cars. And our customers come to us because they want a turnkey product. They love our brand, they love the name, they want the excitement, the power, the performance, but they're coming to us because we've done it and it's proven, and there's no real experimentation to it. And if something does go wrong, we have a customer service staff, we can diagnose it, we can help them fix it, or if we have to bring the vehicle back to the shop and repair it, we do that, and it's all included in the warranty, including shipping. But again, the goal is not to have to deal with a modified car that has an issue. The goal is to build a great car that the client can basically just drive, change the oil, put gas in it, Shell V-Power Nitro Plus, and go out and have a blast with it. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of get that out there. There's a lot of other, you know, good shops out there. There's places, I mean, you can get horsepower from a lot of different places. Again, I think what differentiates Hennessey Performance from the rest of the automotive aftermarket is, again, that reliability, drivability, performance, as well as the warranty. And I think ultimately, based on what customers tell me and tell our staff, they love to have the brand name on the car. And again, that brand name to us means performance, reliability, and at the end of the day, you got somebody in the lane next to you, you know, at the drag strip, that they'll be in the rearview mirror. So that's the goal. Anyway, I want to talk about a drag strip. So when you see a video or you see stuff that we put out, we'll be doing burnouts, we'll be running a number, or racing a couple cars side by side. So we have our own quarter-mile drag strip that literally is right next door to our shop. We actually own the drag strip. I bought the drag strip back in 2004. At the time, it was Lone Star Motorsports Park. It's been around for 20-something years. It was an 1/8 of a mile drag strip, and I've gone there before to test cars, but again, 1/8 of a mile for street cars, unless you've got a lot of traction. It's a good street car with power won't really get going until the 1/8 mile. So we didn't do a lot of testing there, but I'd heard the track was available for sale back in, again, 2003, 2004. Bought the track, and I thought, yeah, this would be a great place eventually to move our business, to have our own workshop on the property, and to have a place to test our cars. And so a few years later, we extended the track, made it quarter mile, we acquired some more land, and then in 2007 we built the building that we're currently in. At the time, I think it was around 30,000 square feet, and we've added about another 10,000 square feet to it along the way, so about 40,000 square feet. So at some point maybe I'll do like a walkthrough on our property, and I'll just get I'll get a drone to follow me around so I can show you, like, okay, here's my office, and I'll walk out of my office and go down the stairs and out the door and into a car. And I don't know, 800 or 1,000 feet from my office is our own 1.3 mile test track. And again, I think that that's significant, that's important. for a variety of reasons. Again, we have our own facility, we have our own proving grounds. We test every single car. After they get off the dyno, they go for their first preliminary test with the technician or the calibrator or both on our own private test track. We don't have to go out to the highway or the feeder road or the test road in Mexico. We have our own Texas test road that we can go 110 to 160 miles an hour anytime we want, all day long, legally. And the only time that we don't really use the track is, or at least for performance, is when it's wet, when there's rain. Again, for what we do, it's important. We probably put 100 to 200 miles on every car that we build for our customers, again, to ensure great quality and great performance. And again, we'll be having a lot of testing going on at Lone Star. It's open to the public. We get to ask that question a lot. We're actually in the process of doing some updates and some maintenance on our asphalt. So I think our next event is scheduled for August the 11th. And then we really get into our more major events when it cools off, like October, typically through, again, April, May, and then the heat of the summer. Just not as many people want to go to the drag strip. So you go to LoneStarMotorsportsPark.com or go to the Facebook page and check out the events on there. Again, it's open to the public. It's like $10 to show up and spectate. Kids 12 and under are free. And if you want a tech card and you want to race your car, it's $40. We're making some investments in some equipment to improve the traction on the track. We need to invest in a little bit better equipment to be able to prep the track. So racers, if you're watching, look for more traction and make sure you set aside a budget for driveline parts, because hopefully when you come out you'll be breaking your half shafts, your differentials, because we'll have so much grip. We'll see, but we're going to do our best to do that. So keep the questions coming. Oh, another thing, I don't know why we're doing all this. Again, I blame my kids because they're all the social media savants. So besides doing a weekly vlog where I'll talk about whatever, try to answer questions and give you guys more kind of background of our company, our people, me personally, our family, Hennessey family, is we're also doing a podcast. And I'm like, okay, I do enjoy, Matt Farah, I've been on with him a few times, listen to Matt's podcast. Jeff Allen with Skid Marks is a great podcast, been on with him. Spike Fairstein, I've not been on with Spike, but Spike's a guy that I like. And so anyway, it's been told to me and our team that, okay, well, we have all these interesting things to talk about. Why don't we talk about them in a podcast? And we have interesting people that we work with and that we know, and interesting clients. So whenever we have an opportunity to bring somebody into we kind of have the podcast station set up in our conference room. Just FYI, future podcasts coming up. We've got a vehicle that's going to be on season 3 of Grand Tour, and we don't want to tell anything about that because we want Grand Tour to let that cat out of the bag when they're ready to. But when the time comes, we can do a deep dive into what's it like to work with Grand Tour, what's it like to work with Top Gear, what's it like to be around Jeremy Clarkson, James May, Richard Hammond. And we can talk about what's it like to work with the new Top Gear guys, with Matt LeBlanc, who's be leaving the show soon, and Rory Reed and Chris Harris. So we've done all that. It's interesting. It's really cool to be, I think for any car guy to be kind of behind the scenes, kind of like being backstage at a concert, to kind of be around the band and to kind of see how they do their thing and what do they like and what are their emotions, and what are some of the things that maybe didn't go right that they didn't show you on the show. I don't know that it's our place to let those things out of the bag, but that happens I'm sure that happens on every movie, TV show, anything that you see that for entertainment, there's something along the way that was interesting or entertaining that went down. So anyway, we'll try to share some of that stuff with you guys. And last night we had our Velociraptor 6x6 was on Jay Leno's Garage on CNBC. If you didn't see it, you can I'm sure get it on your DVR or watch it online at some point. Anyway, I've worked with Jay a bunch of times, and we can do a whole podcast about Jay Leno, and I've known Jay for 25 years and can say a lot of really cool things that I know about Jay and things that I've experienced with Jay. Again, a part of me wants to be technical and get into the details because I'm like, that's what we do and that's what people want to know. But also on the creative and the emotional side, the family side, there's absolutely as much of that content that we can share, again, based on what you guys tell us, based on, hey, that's cool, we like it, we want more, tell us more about the creative. I know that was one of the questions, and I'm down to 1 mile, and I think the gas station's coming up. Thankfully, the Ford will let me go a little further than when I get to 0, but not too much further. Anyway, I do consider myself a creative person, so I'm kind of that, part of my brain is kind of likes the technical and the engineering and the detail. And I'm an action engineering school dropout. That's part of my story is I did 2 years of engineering, but I kind of ran out of interest and I ran out of money for tuition. So I'm not a degreed engineer, but I suppose to some degree, all my relatives on my mom's side of the family, all the males, you know, I've got a dozen plus engineers. So it's in the family, it's in the DNA. But I think to some degree the creative side is the part that really has driven our business. You know, we get wacky ideas for doing crazy things and crazy cars, and then they become reality, whether it's a 6x6 or the Exorcist or the Venom GT. And I could do a whole vlog or podcast about, you know, how did the Venom GT come into play and how did the F5 derive from that. So anyway, I'm trying not to run into this truck in front of me here while I go get gas. All right, that's it. The bell is ringing. I'm down to 0 miles, and I've got a Shell station right over here. Thanks for tuning in, and talk to you next week. Bye.